You get to hear this term simulation a lot these days, and it actually means very differently to different people. Depends on whoever you're talking to. So for example, if I mention this simulation term to a young teenager these days, that person might understand that I'm referring to gaming simulators. If I mention this term to an engineer, a design engineer, that person might understand the DFM analysis, design for manufacturability. It means very differently to different people, but today we are talking about manufacturing simulation. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk about manufacturing simulation and why is it almost an essential tool for manufacturers and people involved in manufacturing industry. We'll also talk about different ways that manufacturers and consultants or integrators use to plan, forecast their systems, and then we'll touch some key benefits of using 3D simulation software. So when we talk about manufacturing simulation, we are talking about two different terminologies here, manufacturing simulation. So let's talk about the first one. Manufacturing in itself is a very self-explanatory term. If we consider it for, let's say, different industries, automotive industry, for example, manufactures cars, dairy industry manufactures milk, yogurt, and all the related dairy products, pharmaceutical industry manufactures meds. But what is important to take into account is the other processes that go into it before we get to see the final product. Before we get to drive that car that came out of the factory, there are a ton of other processes that go in the background, from manufacturing raw material to testing, then to assembling processes, then packaging, then palletizing, and there are tons more. And manufacturers have to really work with tight schedules. They don't have time to think and evaluate how the process is going. They really need solutions that help them to make effective and wiser decisions. And production downtime is usually the last resort for them. So I mean production stoppage. They don't want to stop the production at any cost. So this is where the simulation comes in. Simulation helps manufacturers to make wiser decisions. It gives them a virtual environment where they can easily test, play with different equipment, and decide effectively what works best for them and their environment, and help them be more productive, be cost efficient, and improve the efficiency of the whole process in itself. So let's talk about different ways the manufacturers, integrators, and people from that industry use different methods to plan, forecast different scenarios. Some of them work for planning, some of them work for more understanding of different things, some different processes. Some of them actually work as an alternate for simulation. So let's go through them one by one and try to understand them a little bit better. Right, so the first method that's quite traditional is cardboard. And not just cardboard, but any physical model that you just place on your table, on any surface, and try to understand different processes out of it. So here you see a picture where there are different boxes and different shapes on a table, on a surface, with certain flows. And imagine that you enter a room with this kind of flow on top of a table, let's say, and somebody tries to explain it to you. What would you understand? First question would always be, hey, wait, what shape represents what? And how does this really work? What is the sequence or flow? How do you even find bottlenecks out of it? And how do you even explain it to others? For example, if you have to explain based on that picture something to your customers or to your peers, how would they understand that? This method actually raises more questions than giving you any answers. So it's very clear that it's not a very effective method to plan things or plan certain processes. The next method that we are talking about is prototypes, or using mock-ups to understand the product structure and plan things based on that. Now this is used in different industries, and what they typically do is reverse engineer a product into different parts and then understand how it could be assembled, and then plan their processes based on that. There are some problems with that as well. Even though it's a nice method in itself to understand how the product assembles and how it could be manufactured, but when it comes to simple process or a simple product, it's actually a good method to understand how it works and how the product could be assembled. But when it comes to different processes, because manufacturing environment usually have many different products with many different processes and many batches, many items, and each of these batches require a different set of processes. When it comes to that, it can get very complicated, and this method might not be that effective. And one of the other things is the reworks and the cycle times. How do you take those into account? So in itself is a good process for understanding the product structure, but not very effective when it comes to planning and forecasting certain environments. The next method that's typically used in many industries, I myself have been a part of many of those industries where this has been used, are spreadsheets. Now, spreadsheets are a very common way of planning things in many different departments. When it comes to manufacturing industry, what usually they do is they have a complex spreadsheet with certain columns representing processes. So for example, first column represents first process, second column represents second process, third column third process, and under each of these columns they have certain cycle times. So they put those cycle times under each of these processes for each product, and then based on that data, they start calculating the production rate and make decisions based on that. Okay, in itself, it sounds good, right? It's much better way than what we've seen before these, but it also comes with a lot of limitations. Now, it's a fast way to predict and plan things, but it's again an approximation of planning the whole system, because process times of certain processes are not the only element that need to take care of. You also need to take into account the transportation factors, the buffers, the resource utilization. All of this, it's not possible to take into account in these sheets. And for example, if you start adding those times, like a human has to pick one product from one process and drop it to the next one, you start taking into account those kind of timings as well. Imagine how complex your sheet is going to get. I've been in meetings where you have these complex spreadsheets as part of your agenda. There are more questions than answers as well. Somebody tries to spot, okay, why is the cycle time low? Hey, what about this production rate? Why is it getting low even though the product looks the same as the other? So there are a lot of questions being raised, and sometimes the answers are not very accurate either. So one other factor that these spreadsheets don't really answer is that what if you want to improve your productivity? What if you want to invest in certain equipment and invest in a certain robot, for example? How do you know and how do you calculate the return on investment based on that? So there are a lot of other factors that spreadsheets don't really help with. It's a good tool for certain reporting, but for planning, it's not maybe the most effective one. The next method that I'm going to talk about is 2D drawings. Now, 2D drawings is a quite traditional way. It's used basically across all the manufacturing industries, mainly for designing purpose, not for planning. But it could also be used for planning, and I've seen manufacturers and certain teams use 2D drawings for planning their processes. 2D drawings come up with a top view of the floor plan with some machines, and then you've got the bill of materials next to that. It's nice information in terms of what it offers, but what about process flows? There are no process flows in 2D drawings. You cannot have cycle times, you cannot have production times and rates. And how do you know even the utilization of machines? Again, we come back to the same problem that it offers some things, but it's not very important or nicer tool for planning because it doesn't take all the factors into consideration. So the next method that I'm going to talk about is 2D simulation. Now, 2D simulation is much improvement over the previous methods that we saw. And in 2D drawing, you saw this floor plan of a candy bar manufacturing line, which is converted to 2D simulation now, and you can see how improved it looks and how much of an improvement it is in itself. So here we have this 2D simulation in front of us, and now we see that we've got certain blocks of processes with each of these processes defined. And this is how usually 2D simulation works. You've got certain blocks and you have certain processes assigned to them. Then you can assign values to it like cycle times, and then based on that you start simulating. But each of these processes usually have input and output terminal to make sure your process is going well. Those input and output terminals have certain lights. The green light indicates that the process goes smoothly. Red light anywhere indicates that there are certain bottlenecks. But the good thing about 2D simulation is that you do have process flows into that, so it's much easier to understand the flow of the whole operation. And then here we see an example that we've got green lights here, so it looks like the process works very nicely. But then all of a sudden we see the red spots in there. Now again, these red spots may mean many different things. It may mean that the product is being queuing before one process. It could mean maintenance breakdown. It could mean production breakdown or production stoppage. So it could mean many different things, and 2D simulation again doesn't really give you all the factors and doesn't take all the factors into consideration. Again, I'll bring in the same factors that we mentioned in spreadsheets. So for example, utilization of your resources. Even resources, there's nothing about resources in this 2D simulation. How about humans, robots, AGVs? There are many different resources that work together in a manufacturing environment. For example, if you've got 10 different types of resources in this line, and there's a high traffic, and some of them do not have their pathways optimized, there might be a lot of bottlenecks. How do you even take them into account? 2D simulation doesn't really show that. So 2D simulation in itself is a good tool when compared to other methods that we saw, but it also doesn't really answer all your questions. This is where the 3D simulation comes really handy. So here you see the same production line that we saw in 2D simulation and also 2D drawing, same candy bar production in 3D. And here you see how nice the visuals are and how easy it is to understand how this process works, because you only see some values in certain formats, but you don't really see the whole process with humans, with resources taken into account. Then with these kind of visuals, you can also start to have KPIs for yourself. So you can carry out simulation studies, measure different other parameters from the simulation and make wiser decisions. So a huge improvement over all the other methods, and this is the reason why we advocate the use of 3D manufacturing simulation, because there are tons of factors that can't really take into account with other methods. Here we see again in cutting, you see that the product is being cut into different dimensions. We've got the coating process of the same candy bar production where the candy bar is being coated. Then in the wrapping, you see it's being wrapped in different wrappers. And then when it comes to packing, we are actually able to see that a robot is picking these products and assembling them into a box, and 5 of these bars are going into one box. These are the things that you have to manually define in other methods, or you just don't really see how it works. So that is where it is very, very essential to use manufacturing simulation to see all the context completely, how the process works with all the resources and their utilization and many other factors. Not only that, you can have robots in there, you can jog the robots, you can program the robots, and then you can use those programs, post-process them, and use them onto the real controllers of your robots. So it's not just a planning tool, but it can actually be used with your real equipment. And we always say that the possibilities are endless with this kind of methods. Now that we've seen how 3D simulation works and how it compares to other methods, kind of start getting to understand the value that it's going to bring to you. But let's talk about some key benefits that you can get if you start using those kind of methods. According to a survey, 78% of customers in B2B business buy from the first responder. Now this is a key stat that you have to focus on, and it's the fact that really brings you much more value if you are using 3D manufacturing simulation, because it massively improves your response time. Whether you are related to manufacturing industry or you are a system integrator, response time is extremely important, because either you are under a risk of having a longer downtime or you are at a risk of losing a project. And in both of these situations, simulation can really help you to respond faster to your customer inquiries, any changes in the plans, it can be any changes in the product, it can be any raw material disruptions, it can even be a global pandemic driven logistics issue or several other reasons. So your response time massively improves because you can create different scenarios within a matter of minutes. Here's an example where one of my colleagues created a fully functional simulation within 10 minutes with limited skills. So this is one perception that there is, that all of these softwares usually involve a lot of training, a lot of onboarding, but that's actually not very true. Within few minutes of e-learning, you are able to create your own simulation, working simulations. When it comes to proof of concept, you can easily create them within minutes. Look, adventures and surprises are nice, but when it comes to manufacturing simulation, it really comes at a cost. And usually it's a production downtime, not something that manufacturers want to face on their day-to-day basis. And fortunately, 3D simulation helps you to already foresee any of these surprises, and you can make corrections or make corrective steps to make sure that none of those surprises happen in real-time production environment. Here we have a study which is a nice example of avoiding mistakes. Typically, when you talk about adding new machines into a production line, it usually means that production rate will go up. But here, when we added an additional dairy filler to a dairy production system, it actually caused a bottleneck because there was a converging point on a conveyor where the boxes was coming from 3 different dairy fillers and converging at the same point, causing a huge bottleneck, and some of these cartons actually you see start dropping from the conveyor. So all of these, this is a very basic example. Before you start investing in real machines, simulation helps you to check whether your decisions are correct, and that is based on the real-time data. And we've seen a number of examples where manufacturers have invested in certain equipment that at the end of the day aren't fully utilized or aren't fully useful in the same setup. So what simulation does is you have a virtual environment, you test any kind of equipment that you want to add in your system and check whether it is the right investment for you. One of the very underrated benefit that simulation brings is streamlining communication. Communication may seem that it's not the key priority for a manufacturer or system integrator, but imagine if you are able to create your proposals faster and then you can communicate visually to your customer. How important is that? Because sending a 2D drawing, sending an Excel, sending certain diagrams or some sketches to your customer wouldn't make that kind of impression as a simulation is going to make, because they are going to see in front of them a working model and almost like a closer real-time model that is fully functional, and that helps them to understand your proposals much better, and then who knows, they might choose you as your first supplier. So communication is very important, and so I've got an example for you which shows how you can communicate your designs and proposals better using 3D simulation. Here we have a ball bearing simulation layout. We've got a layout where they are being produced and they are being stored. So once the simulations are ready, you can easily export them into different formats that your customers may receive to understand how this process works. And this really helps you to communicate your work faster and effectively, because the other person don't really need to have Visual Component software to see these kind of designs. All they need is some standard formats that you can export your layouts to. For example, we have here a static image on top left. We've got a video with nice angles where the camera flies around the whole layout. We've got a 3D PDF with simulation there and with bill of materials, so you can click any of these components and check where they are inside that 3D PDF. And you also can export into 2D drawings. A lot of manufacturers rely on them. So how about virtual reality? So here's an example of exporting and streaming your layouts into a virtual reality environment. You can ask your customers to put on the VR glasses, and then they can navigate around, they can teleport around different places inside the manufacturing system. They can see how it works. They can even control different things with VR controllers. Now you're able to interact with certain elements. You can open, close the doors, you can jog the robot. So all of these possibilities are available to you with 3D simulation. One important feature that I really like to highlight here is the Visual Components e-catalog. Now Visual Components has an e-catalog where there are simulation ready components available to you, and they are the 3D models of real machinery. They are 3D models of real robots with real kind of parameters included in them. And we've got 60 plus brands with 2,500 or even more than that models in there. So whether you want to invest in a robot, AGV, any other machine, we've got them in our eCAD. Just choose them, drag and drop them, assign them certain simulation behavior, and you're ready to go and see if it's the best option for you or not. And with that, I'd like to wrap up this video. So hopefully you learned a bit more about manufacturing simulation. If you want to watch more simulation use cases, we've got tons of simulation videos for you. Just check them out. We've got our customer projects there being simulated, layouts from different industries, and most likely we've got the layout from your industry as well. So go check them out. If you want to use Visual Components as your manufacturing simulation solution, feel free to contact us. We have a contact information in the description. Get in touch with us and get your free copy of the demo. That's all for today from my side. Have a great day.